This meeting of the Middletown Historic Commission is called to order. All right. You please call the roll.
Roger Daniel. Here. Sam Cornwall.
Here.
Rachel Rutherford. Matt Dixon.
Here.
Corey Carter. Andy Brickler. Michaela Perkins.
Here.
You have quorum.
All right, we'll begin with the swearing of witnesses. As will everybody who is to testify before this commission, please raise your right hand and do you solemnly swear to or affirm that you'll speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth tonight?
I do.
All right. Okay. So, has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes of the meeting of November 14th, 2023? Does anybody have any additions or corrections to suggest to those minutes? Do we have a motion with regards to the minutes?
I move that they be approved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The minutes of the November 14th, 2023 meeting of the Middletown Historic Commission are approved. Okay, the first item on the agenda is a certificate of appropriateness for 1105 Woodside Boulevard. Let's see, I believe this is an application that was tabled at the last meeting. And do we have a staff report?
We do. Good afternoon, Historic Commission. As you remember, this is a application that we reviewed last month. There was a motion to continue. So application hasn't changed. It's still at 1105 Woodside Boulevard, a vacant lot within the Oakland Conservation District, which would require a certificate of appropriateness to build a new single-family home. I've attached the application for your review. It's a 1,558 square foot house, a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage. Here's the elevations. This home does meet all the architectural standards. Here's the floor plan. There are 3 additional photos that were submitted to us by the applicant, kind of giving you a visual of what the home would look like. Here's the home at night with the lights on. Same house during the day. And then what the rear of the home would look like. Here are surrounding houses, just to get an understanding and feel of the architectural styles. So no person owning, renting, or occupying a property that's historically designated can carry out any exterior alteration, restoration, reconstruction, demolition, new construction, or moving of historic landmark or property without first obtaining a certificate of appropriateness from the Historic Commission or Development Code Administrator, which is why we're here tonight. Other approvals or permits required would be a certificate of zoning compliance and the various building permits required to build a single-family home. Any person directly affected by a decision of the Zoning Code Administrator or the Historic Commission shall have the right to appeal to the Planning Commission, provided that a written application for appeal is filed within 20 calendar days after the decision, notice, or order was serviced. Since we already have voted to do a motion to continue, this application is not voted on tonight, whether it's approval or denial, the application will be automatically approved. I did want to note that. And then I have the time limit as well for a certificate of appropriateness. Unless you'd like me to read it, I'll skip that. And then I'll skip the review criteria, as we're all familiar with that. And then we have appeals as well. So the applicant is not present, but the property owner is, who will be building the new single-family home if the application is approved. That ends my staff report. Do you have any questions for me?
No. All right. Would the applicant like to address the commission? Yes, please step up to the podium. Let's see, first you need to confirm that you were sworn in at the beginning of the meeting, and then state your name and address for the record.
Okay, Dickie Brandon, 515 Hidden Creek Drive, Monroe, Ohio,
Okay,
45050.
Can you verify for the record that you were sworn in at the beginning?
Yes.
All right. Is there anything you'd like to tell us?
So, I'm Dickie Brandon. You might know my son, Philip Brandon. He's a third generational builder. I was born and raised on that side of town, and I take it personal. You know, every house that I built, and I'm the only builder that has built, other than Habitat for Humanity, who has even built in that area, okay? Which is, to me, kind of disturbing. Even Habitat for Humanity won't build over there no more. They pulled out 15 years ago, and they won't even come back over there to build. So I'm still the only builder that will build on that side of town. It's because I'm passionate about it. Each of my properties that I built over there is built specifically for that lot and architectural design for that lot to fit that neighborhood. Whether it's windows, doors, elevation, is well thought of. In that particular, where I'm building that house out, you know, I flew back down here from Missouri to attend this because it was a question about the garage front. And right where that lot is, immediately to the left on Centennial, there's a house that has a garage on it. Across the street, which he showed, a purple house has a house on it. And then there's a house down the street that has a front garage on the elevation, which we sold some years ago. This particular house is going to be sold, owner occupied. It's already sold if this is approved, to a single woman who liked the house that on 14th Avenue. So in relation to where the lot is, to where that house is less than a mile. And as you can see, it's an eye-catching house. I'll invite you guys when I'm finished with it to come look inside of it, just for you know the type of a house that I built over there. It's not a little cookie cutter house. You know, back 15, 20 years ago, it was that kind of cookie cutter house. But with the changing of the, you know, you want this house, particular house that you see, is all hardy, no vinyl, only on the soffit. You know, it's hardy, brick front, great curb appeal. So that's all I really wanted to say. You know, I appreciate your consideration in approving this and allowing me to continue building affordable housing for people who wants to live in that area.
So you're saying it's already sold?
That house, yes. Yes. Yeah, the lady's already pre-approved to buy it. The house on 14th Avenue is already sold. Most of the time when I build something, you know, once they see one house, and the price point, that's a 5-bedroom house, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. And I'm trying to bring 1,500 square foot. What I'm trying to do is bring the property value up in that area. You know, we've done, the city have done the streets over there, but still at the end of the day, if nobody's building over there, you know, you got to attract builders to build over there. You know, we had a thing where it kind of fell to the wayside when Doug Atkins was here with the, building on these infill lots. And then I raised concerns about building on the infill lots because what happened years ago is that we tore down all these houses. Instead of taking the basements out of the houses, they just collapsed the sidewalls in them. Okay? So as a builder, you know, if you if you just collapse the walls, and you didn't take the basement out, when you go to dig, if you hit that basement, you just might as well keep on digging because you gotta dig another basement, and you can't do it over there. The price point of the house would not justify a basement over there. A basement is $40,000 to $50,000 before you even start erecting the house. So you already priced yourself out of the game, and that was the issue when they started reviewing this. And I said, hey, y'all might want to stop, because any builder that takes a risk over there and wants to build on these lots, you can't build a house with a basement over there. You've already priced your way out. So what is the city going to do to incentive for its builder to build over there, to build that area up? If you want to call it the Oakland District, what incentive do we have to build over there? Because you can't build a house with a detached garage on it. You can't. You've already priced yourself out of there. Unless it's government subsidized or incentivized, where you're giving the builder. And I built 200 homes in Dayton. Over there, Maple Park, I built all those homes where they had the homes and they had the detached garage to it. But the government reimbursed the city for that funding. I was charging in Dayton off of 3rd Street. I was building them back 20 years ago for $150,000, and they were selling them for $130,000. So these lots that we have in the city of Middletown are buildable lots, but it's going to come at a cost. And if you don't know as a builder what was on that house, if it had a basement on it, or if it didn't have a basement on it, you're taking a chance to build over there. It's a lot. The house that I just built, I lived 2 houses down from there 20 years ago, prior to me moving and building my house in Monroe. So I knew that house had a basement. And when I went to the city, I said, hey, in order for me to miss that, because I know they collapsed it in and before I could get solid ground, I had to move that house up. I had to widen it in order not to hit that existing basement. Because had I hit that existing basement, it just would have been another empty lot, because I would have had to fill it back in, because I couldn't build a basement on it. Any other questions?
Let's see, one of the, although when they reviewed the Oakland District for the historic district, they talked to us about the fact that houses basically either lack garages entirely or they're detached garages. When they had the plans for infill lots, what they had suggested was rear-facing garages, so that there were garages incorporated in the structures, but they were not basically visible from the front. Is that something that could be done with this design? Or is there access to the rear on that lot that it's even practical?
Okay, so the answer to that, the first thing I would say that you might want to drive over there and look at some of the alleys. They're alleys. They're not conducive to high volume traffic, or I wouldn't want to go down that alley at night. Let's say that. And most of the number streets and areas over that is the same. You don't want to really take your car down those alleys. If you go down them, it's just not conducive. And it wouldn't give you the same curb appeal. I'm into aesthetics. I'm into making a house look like it belongs there and is user friendly, and this design was well thought out because it's user friendly. I would never put a garage on the back of a house, not over there at all. And doing a detached garage is just an additional cost that you can't afford to do it because you have to keep that price point. You got to keep that house will be sold for $255,000 is what the price point of that house will be sold at. The other house that I build, same house on 14th Avenue, it'd probably be around 280. I just recently built a house that the city, I did a land swap with on Maple. It was a 3-bedroom, 1,400, no garage, because it was a 40-foot lot. That house sold for $279,000, which brings the property value up. I mean, when it's conducive to do something like that, I look at the surrounding house, but as far as doing a rear garage on a house that has that kind of curb appeal, I wouldn't do it. It wouldn't even look right.
I guess the basic concern is that the object of preserving the Oakland district was to preserve the unique historic architecture of the neighborhood. I understand that there are later built houses that do have garages in the front, but those are exceptions. They are not what caused that neighborhood to be considered historic.
But to interject on that, if you look at this, I actually don't know why they incorporated that street as historic, because there's not one house on that house that's historic. I was born over there. I was raised. I know every house on the block, who lived there, their parents. I played over there. You know, when you have on that street, you have probably 20 houses and only 5 is owner occupied. There's a problem. There's a problem. You know what I mean? I don't know what more to say, sir, in terms of when I build these houses, it needs to be an owner occupied. We have enough rental inventory in the city of Middletown. We have enough Section 8 inventory in Middletown. And I take it as an honor to be able to build something in that district, and not only in that district that they zoned historical, in that area in general, because again, you can't name me one other builder that's building over there.
I guess my basic concern is that anything we do in the Oakland district is going to be a precedent for anything else that is asked for in the Oakland district. Which means that if we approve this house, then it's going to be much more difficult for us to deny a future plan for a front-facing garage on, even if it's on a different street, right? Even if there are not houses in the immediate vicinity with such garage. I mean, I'm not saying that it would be impossible. As you say, there are distinctions between where you're building and elsewhere in the district. But certainly it's going to be a precedent that can be cited if anybody appeals to the Planning Commission or takes it to court. And if every infill lot is filled with a house with a front-facing garage, then pretty soon you lose the character, the historic character, and then you can't enforce much of anything as far as the architectural standards. And that is my concern, and I know the concern of a couple of people that weren't here tonight.
Okay, and I understand that, and I can appreciate it. But let me say this as well. You know, they brought that zone, they moved that line to make that historical, okay? So, Kuntz Avenue, Same house, front and garage. I should have took pictures of it. I built it, 1999. Elm Street, around the corner from that lot, same thing. 4-bedroom, 2-car garage, ranch. I built that house. I'm the only person building over there. The only builder. Wouldn't that be alarming that nobody wants to build in the city of Middletown but me in that area? It ain't like nobody's knocking the door. I don't see any permits from any other builder building anything over there.
But part of the point of making it the historic, a historic district, and designating it that way was to draw people in. But it means that we have to have a consistent policy.
I respect that. Have anybody came?
No, but there've been a lot of stumbles along the way to actually getting anything done, and a lot of changes within the city staff and city council. And does anybody else have anything that they want to contribute to this? Or?
Well, I mean, I think it's very telling that he's already sold the house as it's designed. I've been thinking a lot since our last meeting about, front-facing garages and all that. And I've driven through that neighborhood a couple more times, including this afternoon. And it's kind of an eclectic neighborhood anyway. I mean, it doesn't have, like a lot of the historic neighborhoods, you kind of have, row houses or houses that look like they might be roughly the same. Now, 14th Avenue, those houses really do look about the same. Of course, they're not in a historic district.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up on 16th, by the way.
Okay.
But anyway, I agree that we ought to have a standard that, for the most part, garages should be in the back. But we haven't shared that information with any of the builders or people that are trying to do this. I know his son and Dennis Beatty has been to the appeals board and different things, trying to work with the infill lots. And usually it's variance on setbacks and that sort of thing, so they could fit a decent house on a strange-shaped lot. But I know they're working very hard with the city to do that. As a matter of fact, this particular piece of property, I think, was a swap from someplace else. I don't know if
It's a land swap that I'm trying to do. I acquired a property 20 years ago, and it's on not Maple. It's on Wayne Avenue. What?
I don't think it would be fair to impose this standard, which we haven't actually adopted, and we certainly haven't publicized. I think we need to get onto that and get that stuff out and get our ducks in a row on it. So I would approve it.
My personal stance on this is that I grew up in the neighborhood. I grew up on 14th Avenue. 14th Avenue, yes, you're correct. A lot of those homes do look the same. But that immediate area on Woodlawn, those houses are all different. I don't, personally myself, I don't consider that area the historic area. I know that's where the line has been moved to, but that area, I just don't consider it. So I would personally move to, and I think would be doing him a disservice considering that he has a house half a mile around the corner that's already been sold. And also this one, additionally, has been pre-sold as well. I feel like we would be sending the wrong message if we tell them no.
I mean, I think we need detailed minutes so we can try to cabin this to this situation. So that when someone goes back and says, well, this is a precedent, that we'll be able to say, this is why this was approved and why we don't necessarily have to approve something similar in the future.
No case, nothing that you ever approve sets a precedent, whether it's through the Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission, or Historic Commission.
I mean, not binding on us, but it is definitely something that can be pointed out to the planning commission, and when they appeal our decision, it is definitely something the court will consider if it gets to the court.
I mean, I can understand where you're coming from there, but to his point, nobody else is even living in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just real quick, just for the process of this, we're still haven't opened up the public hearing. And you guys are discussing the application, so I don't know if you guys want to
Yeah.
close that so you can open up the public hearing, then close the public hearing, and then go into deliberation.
Is there anything else you'd like us to know?
No, thank you for considering it, taking consider what I said. I greatly appreciate it, and again, feel free to drive around, drive through the alleys in that area that they deem, and then you'll see, why we gotta have something different, because we don't want people going in the back entry garage with a blighted alley. I thank you guys.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public present that would like to speak in favor of the application? Is there any member of the public that would like to speak in opposition to the application? There being no response, so we'll close the public forum. Is there any board discussion? There being no board discussion, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve it as submitted.
Second.
Gonna call the vote?
Roger Daniel.
Yes.
Sam Cornwall.
Yes.
Matt Dixon.
Yes.
And McKelly Perkins.
All right, there being a majority of the commission in favor, the certificate of appropriateness is approved. Do we have any new or old business that needs to be addressed today?
Yeah, so at the end of the last meeting, we left off with 3 tasks for myself, which is asking the law department to come and speak to us. I spoke with them recently in the last few weeks, and since we do have new historic commission members, they think that hosting a special meeting and then having a training day to not only be able to update you on processes for code violations, but then also to kind of go through their typical lesson that they go through for new members. We haven't had that happen since I've been here at the city, but we have done it for Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. So I think it would be ideal. The thing is they don't want to just do it when we have 3 or 4 members. They would like to get as many of the new members as possible. So that's something I'm to work out with you, and I'll send you an email soon in the upcoming weeks so we can try to schedule that. The next one for you was a particular one about the mural on the side of the YMCA. I went over to the building, to the YMCA, and handed off my business card. I talked to them briefly, asked them to pass it to whoever's in charge of that particular building. And I'm just waiting on some type of callback. Preferably, I like to go through this path first, talk to them in person, try to inform them that this is that their sign is, kind of degrading prior to sending a notice of violation. It's usually a much more easier path, and especially with them being a staple to the downtown. I think it's a smart choice. Those were 2 big ones, and then I had some homes that I looked over for, or I asked code enforcement to go to for Rachel. She's not here, but I've already updated her on that. And then as far as asking code enforcement or having code enforcement to send some type of Excel sheet of the homes that they're reviewing or anything else, I asked the person that's in charge of code enforcement, and I was politely told no, that I can't ask them to produce any more documents or work than they're already doing. And then if somebody wanted to do a public records request, that is absolutely at their disposal. So that covers all my, old business. Do you have any new business for me?
Our book of standards was you know, you sent that out to us, and you got comments from South Main, I think.
For this-
Where does that stand?
For the historic preservation plan?
Yes,
Yep. So I think it was either Monday or Tuesday, I got the first 4 chapters of the historic preservation plan sent to me. I'm in the process of reading and reviewing. I'm doing track changes on it, and then I'll send it to Deborah and Ashley. They'll review it, and they'll send it. We'll send it back for review. But we've kind of told them to go full steam ahead, and this is just their first check-in or benchmark with us. Once we wrap it up or get a little bit more to it, then we'll have another public hearing. I'll send out the document. We'll make it available online and go through that process.
looking at that, we're gonna have to justify every exception we take to standards in the book, or standards that we do accept or reject. Because we have to go through point by point, it looks like.
Well-
Let's change that.
Well, the good thing about the historic preservation plan is that it will be a guidebook in the future for making decisions like the one you had to make tonight.
That would be good. I went through our yellow book or orange book or whatever it was, and there's no mention of garages in it. Carriage houses.
Has there been any movement on the US Hotel?
No. So at this point in time, they've taken enough of a proactive response to board it up and fix the leaking of the roof. So I can't actively pursue any more violations. Now, from a code enforcement standpoint, they are aware of the building that has been a hot point for them. But for me, they've done everything that I can ask them to do.
And do we know what's going on with the Manchester or?
So the Wayland Ventures is the company that we contracted with to start the process. They went in a few months ago to do like a radar scan of the concrete pillars within both the Manchester and Sunshine building to see if it is structurally sound. I've not heard any results back from that yet. But I do know that they are ideally looking at, I believe, the Swallens lot to start their construction, because it's going to be a multi-phase. They're wanting to purchase or contract the city multiple different buildings, and they're wanting to do the Swallens lot first, and then while they're working the Swallens lot, work on market studies, and then start the construction on the Manchester and Snyder building.
Yeah, we were talking about basements and concrete. I think there's a lot of concrete underneath the ground where that Swans lot is. Okay.
I'm still concerned about the code enforcement. I mean, I've heard from some members of the public that they're not getting very much response when they reach out to them, and what they're saying is not ever reaching us. All right, do we have a motion?
Do we adjourn?
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? We are adjourned.
You can tell your son if you hadn't showed up, it would have gone down in flames.